I had to dress up for this video and get a drink. Kippis. Water. The finest drink of them all. So, in the beginning of 2020, I released my first game, Mortal Glory. This was after 9 months of learning and hard work, while also working a full-time job at the same time. Now the game has been out for a full 1 year, and it's about time I shared with you how much money the game has made. Some of you are probably impatient, so I will reveal the total number right away. So, how much has my first game sold in 1 year? Drum roll, please. Here. That's how much my game and its DLC sold in total during 1 year. That's not how much money I got myself though, not even close. Stick around if you want to hear some more details. Hi, my name is Auro. I'm an indie game developer and I also make weekly YouTube videos to help you on your own game dev journey. If you are interested in hearing more details about how I reached that sales number with my first game, consider subscribing to the channel. I aim to be transparent and share all the useful information that might help you. Okay, so $128,884. That's the total, and the vast majority of that is from Steam. Aside from Steam, the game was also a brief moment on Chrono.gg's creator store. The game sold 39 copies over there, totaling $301. Everything else is from Steam, as I haven't put the game up in other stores. So, let's take a closer look at the Steam data. I have sold 17,486 copies on Steam, which totals to just a bit over $113,000, making the average selling price $6.46 per unit, which is 20% lower than the default US dollar asking price. It is lower because of discounts and differences in regional prices. Surprised by the popularity of the game, I decided to start working on a DLC. After a few months of work, I released the DLC in September of 2020. It has sold 4,693 copies in a little bit over 4 months, meaning that 27% of the people with the base game have also bought the DLC. Nice. This amounts to around $15,500 in sales. Let's take a quick look at what the sales look like on a line chart. As expected, the biggest peak is from the release week. The curious thing with the release is that I actually got a lot more sales on the 3rd and 4th day of the release instead of the first 2 days. I'll probably make a video specifically about the release week, so let's skip the details for now. Coming to the next peak in mid-April, that is when I pushed out a localization update and put the game on sale for the first time after release. Then the next peak is at mid-May. I believe this was either because of Steam pushing the game to a Chinese audience, or then a Chinese streamer featured the game, as I got a large bump from the Chinese audience at this point. The next small peak is again a sale. This is the Steam Summer Sale, and here in mid-September I published the DLC and had a sale again. This time for a new low of 30% off. The bump here at the end of September is again thanks to the Chinese audience. I didn't have a sale or anything, so either it's the Steam algorithm doing its crazy thing or a popular Chinese streamer played the game. Then again a sale, and the small bumps at the end are also sales. There's one more important revenue source from Steam that I almost forgot to include in. That is the community market fee. I have gotten $14 from that during the few months that it has been out. If you are wondering where this comes from, I get 10% of all the trading that goes on with Mortal Glory's Steam assets. I created them myself, and if I remember correctly, it took me a full day to create everything that was needed. So, from a purely financial point of view, it probably wasn't worth it to create those assets. But I did get a few positive comments when I put them out, so I would say that made it worthwhile. That brings the total amount of sales, base game and DLC, up to $128,884 within 1 year. I am very happy with this number and it blows my mind that the game has sold so well. Initially, my expectations were very low and selling just 10% of this would have been amazing for me. But now that we have looked at the big numbers, how much of this do I get myself? Glad you asked. Let me show you. I will leave out the community market fees and the chrono.gg sales to make it a bit more simple. First, Steam takes out of that price returns, chargebacks and taxes, which in my case amounts to $19,152. That takes around 15% of the pot. Then Steam wants its cut. For most games, this is 30%. So that takes $32,825 out of the pot. I don't have a publisher, so this is now the money that gets sent to my company's bank account. My bank account is in euros, so a small amount of that money is lost because of the currency conversion. But let's stick to dollars so it doesn't get too confusing. So $76,592 gets sent to my company's bank account. But again, that doesn't mean it's money I get to keep. At this point, it will differ a lot based on what country you're doing business from and what type of a company you have, or if you don't have a company. But having some sort of a company is recommended though. This is money that I can now freely use to buy game assets or use for some other company needs. One of those is paying salary. If I pay salary to myself, I will need to pay income tax on that salary. If I just leave that money on my company's bank account, the company has to pay income tax for it. Let's first deduct the development costs of the game. I went through them in more detail in a previous video, but the total amount ended up being $3,174. So $73,418 after deducting the costs. It's good to note that this amount does not yet include any compensation for myself for all the hours I used. At this point, it's very dependent on how you use that money and how much you're able to optimize your taxes. But I think a decent estimate would be that of this amount, I still need to pay around 25% in taxes. So that leaves around $55,000 that I could get to my own bank account from the total sum. I haven't actually paid myself any salary, but that's about the sum I could pocket after taxes. That's around 43% of the total sum. So in essence, for every dollar my game has sold, I have personally earned 43 cents from it. I didn't have a publisher, but if I had, this number would be even lower. Let's say if the publisher took 30%, it would be around 29 cents for every dollar. It's not quite so glamorous after first seeing the big numbers, considering that making games is tough work. But don't get me wrong, what I have gotten is a very big sum of money compared to the amount of hours I have put in. Based on my hour tracking, I have put in a total of 1,681 hours into Mortal Glory, around 1,000 hours before release and the rest after that. These hours also don't include all the hours I have put into my company itself. With the 1,681 hours, my earnings would amount to an hourly wage of almost $33. I'm quite happy with that. It will also keep going up as the game keeps selling more. An article by Danny Weinbaum suggests that on average, games sell 58% of their lifetime revenue within the first year. So based on that estimate, my game would end up selling a total of $222,000 during its lifetime. This would bump up my personal earnings up to $95,000 and the hourly wage to $56 per hour. But of course, this is all hypothetical, and in reality, I will end up using a good chunk of that money for my next game. Hopefully, I will have enough time soon to start working on that. I've been anxiously waiting for it, but so far I have just been way too busy with other things in my life to give it the focus it deserves. But anyway, that's everything I can think of now to say about the sales numbers. Please leave a like if you found this interesting or helpful. Let me know in the comments if you would like to hear more about some specific aspect of the sales data or anything else. Alright, thanks for watching and see you on the next one. base game and DLC. Percent of this would have been amazing for me.